Hey, I'm Jack Barley.
And I'm Kevin D.
And we are going to tell you why we made the CIVIC Access Pouch 2 liters.
We wanted to do an organizer piece. In the spirit of EVERGOODS, we generally make general purpose equipment. It's not too sport or activity specific. So that was kind of one of the main challenges of coming up with a good organizer for EVERGOODS.
Yeah, it was sort of what sort of items did we think would fit inside this thing? Kevin sort of like parsed out like a variety of different sort of loads and things, and that helped us sort of arrive actually at a shape independent of the volume that it ended up as. We sort of decided that something this size held the different variations of loads that we thought it might work for, and we knew we wanted it to be sort of like have some structure and some beautiful shape. But then you really started to think sort of about like zipper opening, right? Like I feel like often competitors' pouches, you saw several.
Yeah, some of the initial designs were sort of a clam shell that would sort of open halfway, and this is a common thing that you'd see in little handbags and purses, and we looked at some organizers that worked that way. I think it's a fine design, but one limitation that we kept bumping into is that it didn't quite open enough. Access, I think, is a big part of the EVERGOODS brand, and I really wanted the user, when this pouch is open, to be able to see in and get out.
Yeah, like the early samples, if it zipped to the center and like was open, you actually didn't then have full access down inside it, but you'd come up with this sort of zipper line that was around.
I've got an early paper here.
There you go, yeah.
So we were looking at something kind of like this. That was another, I felt, disadvantage of this kind of design. This one's paper and doesn't weigh anything, but when you set it down, it didn't really stay open. So once we went for this sort of top access, then kind of pushed it to make a flat surface on the bottom here so that it would just set. Yeah,
and I think from there, we, just like with everything, we wanted to have this thing been intuitive to lay out, but also have some flexibility in how you would optimize the load. Basically saying, hey, there's a way to pack this thing that we've put into this, but exactly how you do that is going to be up to you. And Kevin had the idea to put sort of a floating divider in there, and it can kind of go from either side, and then some fabric pockets throughout the rear and then in the front that also can kind of flex, and like a signature to us too, a pocket through here that has independent volume. And I think this pouch turned out incredibly versatile in the end.
Yeah, me too. I think if we were to set out to make a really specific pouch like a DOP kit or a wire pouch, this is a design constraint that I think actually makes the job of design easier. You know exactly what's going to go in there. There's pretty clear rules to follow of what it needs to accommodate. But making something more general purpose was actually quite challenging. Although we weren't making a pouch specifically to be like a first aid kit, for example, during the development process, we did line out different loads. This is what I think a typical first aid kit would look like. This is what I think a typical kind of tech wire load would look like. This is what I think a typical little emergency kit might look like. So we just put together all these loads and just tried them all in different configurations, looking for layouts that were flexible enough to accommodate a wide variety of things, and this is where we ended up.
Yeah, and what we ended up with flexes into all those things. It's CIVIC Access Pouch 2 liter is going to be an exceptional tool that works to facilitate your active daily life, and we hope you enjoy it.
High five.
High five, yeah.